The sun had barely risen when a young boy, no older than 10, stepped out onto the busy street with a small box of candies in his hands. His clothes were worn, his shoes slightly torn at the edges, but his eyes held a quiet determination. Each day, while most kids were just waking up for school or planning their next game, this boy was already walking through crowded sidewalks, calling out gently to strangers, hoping someone would buy just one sweet. He wasn't doing it for pocket money or a new toy. He was doing it for someone who meant the world to him. His mother, who sat quietly at home in a wheelchair, unable to walk since an accident that had changed both their lives. The boy's world was small, but filled with big responsibilities. Every candy sold meant another meal, another bus fare, another medicine. He never complained. In fact, he smiled at every person who walked by, hoping kindness would find its way back to him. Some days were better than others. Some days, he came home with enough coins to make his mom smile. Other days, he came home with tired feet and a heavy heart. But then one afternoon, something unexpected happened. As he stood at a corner with his candy box nearly empty, a stranger approached, not to buy, but to ask a question that would change everything. The boy hesitated, unsure whether to answer. There was something different about this man. Something unsettling. What did he want? Why was he so interested in the boy's life? That day didn't end like the others, and what the boy discovered next would take him down a path he never imagined. A choice was waiting, a choice no child should ever have to make. The boy looked up at the man, his small hands gripping the edge of the candy box tighter. The man crouched down, his voice calm but firm. "You've been out here every day, haven't you?" he said. "Selling candy, helping your mother." The boy nodded slowly but stayed quiet. He had learned not to trust too quickly. Some people were kind, others just pretended to be. The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded note, offering it to the boy. "Take this," he said, "but only if you're ready to hear something important." The boy didn't take the note. Not yet. Something in the man's eyes made him uneasy, curious, but cautious. The man smiled gently, stood up, and added, "You're stronger than you think. I'll be back tomorrow. Think about it." That night, the boy sat beside his mother in their small, dimly lit room. The walls were thin, the ceiling leaked when it rained, but they had each other. She asked him how his day went, and he smiled as usual, not wanting to worry her. He didn't mention the man. Not yet. Over the next few days, the man returned, never pushing, never buying candy, just watching from a distance. It wasn't clear what he wanted. He never gave his name. But each time he left something behind. A small book, a drawing, a piece of candy wrapped in gold foil. The boy kept them all, hidden in a shoebox under his bed. Whispers started in the neighborhood. People said the man wasn't from around here. Some said he worked for a charity. Others said he was looking for someone, but no one really knew. All the boy knew was that the man's visits were leading to something that felt bigger than anything he'd ever known. The boy started to notice things he hadn't before. The man didn't just watch him, he watched others too. Sometimes he stood near the bus stop, pretending to read a newspaper. Other times he sat on a bench across the street, always in sight but never too close. It was like he was waiting for something. Or someone. The boy began to wonder if the man's interest really had anything to do with him, or if he was just part of something bigger. Still, every day, the man left something behind, and the boy kept collecting the clues like puzzle pieces he didn't yet understand. At home, his mother was growing more tired. Her medication was running low, and the boy had started skipping lunch just to save a little extra money. He didn't say anything to her. She had enough to worry about. Sometimes, late at night, he'd hear her crying softly, thinking he was asleep. That sound stayed with him, echoing louder than the cars outside or the voices of people passing by. One evening, after another slow day of selling candy, the boy returned home to find the shoebox under his bed open. His mother sat beside it, holding the gold-wrapped candy and the man's first note. She didn't say a word at first, just looked at him with worry in her eyes. "Who gave you these?" she finally asked. The boy hesitated. He didn't want to lie, but he also didn't know how to explain it all. That night, his mother didn't sleep. She kept the door locked and the light on. The next morning, she told the boy not to sell candy that day. "Stay close," she said. "Something doesn't feel right." But by then, it was already too late. The man had left something else. This time, it wasn't a gift. It was a photo, and the boy was in it. The boy stared at the photo in silence. It was taken from across the street. He could tell by the angle. In the image, he was standing by his usual corner, candy box in hand. But it wasn't just him in the photo. His mother was in it too, visible through their open window, sitting in her wheelchair. The edges of the photo were worn, like it had been folded and carried for a long time. He felt a chill run down his back. Why would the man have this? His mother took the picture from his hands and turned it over. There was something written on the back in small, shaky handwriting. "I finally found you." Her face turned pale, and she whispered something under her breath, something he couldn't quite hear. She looked scared in a way he hadn't seen before, not just worried, but truly afraid. That night, she made him promise not to talk to the man again. But the boy had questions, and they were only getting louder in his head. The next day, he went out early, before his mother woke up. He didn't take the candy box. He went straight to the corner where he had always seen the man. The bench was empty. The street was quiet. But tucked under the bench was a new envelope, sealed and thick. He picked it up with shaking hands, looking around. Inside, he found another photo. This one was older, faded. A man and a woman stood together, smiling. The woman looked just like his mother, only younger, healthier. The man beside her looked like him. Before he could process what he was seeing, a voice spoke softly from behind him. "I was hoping you'd come today." The boy turned, heart pounding. The man was back, and this time he wasn't alone. The boy froze as he looked up. The man stood just a few feet away, but his eyes weren't on the boy. They were on the woman beside him. She looked about the same age as his mother, but something about her felt colder, more serious. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. She just stared at the boy like she knew him, like she had been waiting for this exact moment. The man finally broke the silence. "You deserve to know the truth," he said. "There's more to your mother's story than she's told you." The boy felt his chest tighten. He didn't know what to believe anymore. "Who are you?" he asked. The man glanced at the woman, then back at him. "We're family," he said quietly, "but not in the way you think." That word, family hit like a thunderclap. The woman stepped forward and opened a small folder she'd been carrying. Inside were more photos, legal papers, and an old hospital record. The boy caught a glimpse of a name, his mother's, but it wasn't just hers. Another name was listed beside it, the man's. The boy's thoughts started racing. Everything suddenly felt connected in a way he didn't understand. His mom, the wheelchair, the man's strange visits, the photo. "Why now?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. The woman finally spoke. "Because time is running out," she said. "For her, and for you." At that moment, a car pulled up fast along the curb. The windows were tinted. The man's expression changed. He turned to the woman and nodded once. She closed the folder and whispered, "It's your choice. But if you want answers, you'll need to come with us. Now." The boy looked back at his home. His mother would be waking up soon. But something told him if he left now, nothing would ever be the same again. The boy stood frozen, the folder pressed tightly to his chest. His heart was pounding, his mind spinning with questions. But in that moment, something shifted. He looked up at the man and woman, then back at the car, its engine humming low like a warning. "I can't leave my mom," he said. "She needs me." The man took a slow breath, nodding, but the woman's expression turned sharp. "She hasn't told you the truth," she said. "Not about the accident. Not about your father. You've been living a lie." The boy stepped back, shaken. "She's the only one who's ever been there for me," he said. Whatever she's hiding, she did it to protect me. Just then, the car door opened. Another figure stepped out, older, wearing dark glasses. He called the boy's name softly. The boy looked closer, and for a second, he felt dizzy. The man looked exactly like the photo in the folder, the one standing beside his mother, smiling. "I'm your father," the man said gently, "and I've been looking for you since the day you were born." The boy couldn't speak. He turned and ran. He didn't stop until he reached home, bursting through the door. His mother was waiting, eyes full of worry. She knew. She had always known this day would come. Slowly, she pulled out an old, dusty envelope from a drawer and handed it to him. Inside was a letter, written in her handwriting. It told the truth about his birth, the separation, and the reason she had kept him hidden. She had run not out of fear, but out of love. But at the end of the letter was something unexpected. "If you're reading this, it means they've found you. But there's something they don't know, something only you can protect." The boy looked up, a chill running through him. What did she mean? The boy sat on the floor, letter in hand, as his mother's voice filled the small room through her written words. She had once been in love with his father, but when things grew dangerous, people, money, promises that were broken, she left to protect her son. She never told him the full truth because she hoped the past would stay buried. But she always knew the day might come when the past would catch up. And now it had. As she wheeled over to him, she placed a hand on his shoulder. "You don't have to choose between me and the truth," she said softly, "but you do need to know who you are." The boy finally understood. The man and woman were not there to hurt him. They wanted something only he had. Not money or documents, but the truth. A voice. A story only he could tell. He returned to the street corner the next day, not with candy, but with a choice. The man and woman were waiting, this time with no car, no folder, no pressure. He walked up to them and said, "I read the letter. I know everything now, but I'm staying with my mom. If there's a way forward, it has to include her." The man looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. "You've got her courage," he said quietly. The woman didn't speak, but handed him a small card before they turned and walked away. It had a phone number and just one word, asterisk, when you're ready, asterisk. In the end, the boy didn't just sell candy. He carried his mother's strength, his father's mystery, and a future only he could shape. Life on the street had taught him resilience, but family, no matter how complicated, taught him what truly mattered.